Let's talk about the product and the product list. So a settings of type product output a product picker field that's automatically populated with the available product for the store. So if you want to output one specific product, let's say in your home page, you can use this type product to have access to the products, just like we did in the previous video. So let's see how it works. So you use the type to be product, it must be product. You use the ID, you give any name you want, you have the label, and when accessing a value of product type settings, the data is returned as a product object or blank if there is no selection made, or the selection is invisible or is no longer exist. And the product does not support the default attribute, just for you to know. And let's go and try to add it just below here. And now we add the product settings. So type is going to be product, and the ID, let's call it product, and the label, let's call it product here as well. We cannot use the default here, we're gonna get an error. So how to access it? So it's going to be the same. So it's going to be section.settings.product. So if I save it and I come to our customizer here, we're gonna have the product selection here. So if I click, now I'm gonna have all the products from my store, and I can select one. Let's say this one, for example. Let's click on one. I can go more than one, and you already see that it's populating, I think, the title or the handle of the product. Yeah, this is the handle of the product. So if you save it and you come here, you add a dot, you can have access to all of this object here. So let's say, for example, we want to use the product price, for example. If I save it, we're going to have the product price appearing here. Okay, and the price in filter, you need to use the money filter, and it's going to convert to you to the correct currency you have in your store, so 10 something. If you want, you can display even more information. So let's say we want to have the product title, just like we saw earlier, and we want to have the product featured image, and again you have to access the image URL here, give it a width of some number. In my case, I give it 500, and don't forget to add the image tag. So if you save it, you're going to have the image of the product appearing here. Okay, and we have access to a bunch of information using this product. All right, so next let's talk about the product list. This one we also talked about it already to showcase this one, but let's see it again. So the product list type settings output a product picker field that automatically populated with the available products for the store. If you want to select, you want to have a multiple product displayed in your store, you can use the product list, and you can also set a limit. So if you don't set a limit, it's going to be up to 50, and the limit attribute in this case is not required. All right, so let's give it an example. And when you're accessing the product list, the data is returned as an array of product object, and if there is no selection made, or the selection has been it's no longer exist, or it disappeared, then it's gonna return blank. Okay, so if I come down below here and I go to below the product settings, so let me create another one. Let's call it type product. Well, it's going to be product list. This is what Shopify is looking for, and the ID, let's call it product list as well, and here the label could be product list. And of course here we can add the limit if you want to. I don't think we can add the default. We can add the info if you want to, and the limit, let's set it to be 5, for example. If you save it and you go back to your customizer, we're gonna have the select here, and if I click, and I can select now up to 5 because I set the limit to be 5. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and if I select it and I save it, now we're gonna have access to 5 products, and because it is returning an array of products, so we have to loop over that. So if I come here and let me add some break tag, and if I try to print it, so section.settings.product list, that's the ID. If I save it, I'm gonna get product drop, something like this. There you go. So product list drop is means we have to loop because it is returning an array. So if I come, I cut this one, delete this one, and I go with a for loop, and the for loop is going to be against the section settings product list, and we can give it here a name variable as a list. And now if I go list that title, for example, and I save it, we're going to have 5 titles appearing here. Okay, because I don't have any break tag, let me add a break tag here. And if I save it, now we're gonna have the product, like the title of the product. We can add some filter here to reduce, let's say truncate to 20 words. If I save it, it's going to be shorter like this, just like we did on top, here. All right, and of course we have like access to more than this. We can access again the image just like we did here. Let me just copy that so we are not wasting time. Okay, so we need to add a pipe here, so we have access to the featured image like this for each product. And here we can also access the price. I can go here and say that price, and we can give it the money filter. We can say money, and if I save it and I go, now we have each like title of the product, its image and its price, and etc. So let's talk about the Richtext settings input. So it's the same principles like we used with the inline Richtext, just this one comes with more formatting. Okay, and when accessing that, data is returned as a string or as an empty object, and the default attribute here isn't required. However, if you use it, the only P or the URL tag are supported. Okay, so this is how they're showing you how to use that. All right, so let's go and give it a try. So first of all, I will come to clean all this what we did here. So we have empty code, so let's also delete all these settings, is becoming too much, and let's create a new settings for the rich text. So the type is going to be rich text, and the ID, let's call it rich text, and the label is going to be rich text, something like this. So if I save it and I go back now to my customizer, and so this is how it's going to be. So let me also like try to create the one with the inline rich text just to show you the differences. So let me add here inline rich text. So the ID should be, let me just add I in front so it looks different. So let's call this one inline rich text, and here we're going to see the differences. So you see that with the rich text we have like more formatting. We have the paragraph, we can have the heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, etc. until heading 6. We can add the bold here as well, italic here as well, add the link here as well, but we have some extra bullet list here and even numbered lists. And yeah, and that's it. So to access the inline rich text is going to be the same. You write a text, you can say I am a text. You can say I want to have this text to be bold, to be italic. Okay, so and if you come now to access it, let me save what we did here. Let me remove this inline rich text. It was just to show you the differences. So if I save it, and now let's try to access this text we just created in our rich text input there. So it's going to be section.settings.rich text. So if you save it, and we're gonna have our text appearing here in bold, and I can put all this text to have a link. So the link could be anything as you want. So let's point it to all collection, and we can even say open this link to a new window. If I insert that, so it's going to become a link and it's going to be clickable. Let me save, and if I come here and I go on top, and now I'm able to click and to go to the collection page here. All right, so now let's talk about the text alignment settings input. So a settings of type text alignment output a segmented control field with icons. So again, it's the same principles. In the case you want to output, you want to center or align your text to be left, right, or middle, you can also use these settings, this text alignment, to is going to show you like some clear design with icons that representing left, right, and center. And when accessing this text alignment, data is returned as a string, and if you don't specify the default attribute, then the left option is selected by default. So let's try to do that. Let's go back to our VS Code just below our rich text here, which we can even delete for now. Okay, so we have clear code here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add this type is going to be text alignment. The ID, let's give it just text for now, and the label, let's call it also alignment, so it makes sense, call it text alignment. And here we can give it the default if you want to. If we don't give the default here, it's gonna grab the left as the default, but you know, as I press Control and space, I have access to these three only, so you can't come here and write something here. You can even see it's giving you this squiggly line, so the default here must be only these three values, center, left or right. So let's set it to be center, and if I save it, I have no error so far. And if I go check my customizer, so this is how it's going to look. We have text alignment, so I can toggle the left, I can go in the middle, I can go on the right, and etc. So let's apply the same settings here to this text like we did with the radio. So I'm gonna come on my VS Code and I will delete this radio code we had here, and I will add an ID here. I'm gonna call it text. So, and then I will go inside my style, I will target this text, so it's going to be like this, and I will use the CSS text align, I believe, and then I'm going to access this section, that settings, that text, and if I save it, so automatically it should be centered. So now it is set to the right, so if I toggle the left here, the text will go to the left. If I toggle back to center, it's going to be on the center. If I toggle the right, it's going to be on the right. So let's talk about the URL setting type. So these settings helps you to capture a URL selection. So in a case you want to add some URL to go to some specific page, you can use this type here. You can use it to even create some button and to add a link there. It really depends in your use case. And when accessing the URL type settings, data is returned as a string or a nil if no value has been entered. Alright, so let's go and try it. Let me go back here just below our text alignment. Let's create a setting of type URL like this, and let's give it an ID, could be URL. Let's give it a label, let's call it, let's say link URL, and let's say I will go, let's first of all see how is it looking inside our customizer. So this is how it's going to look. So we can come and paste a link here, or we can like select the link that Shopify already provides, such as the collections, the products, and etc. So we can come here and choose one, and it's going to link directly there. Okay, so let's see how we can access it. I'm gonna go enter our div here. I'm gonna create some a tag like this, and here we can say click me, and of course we need to add href here, and we need to access now the section that settings, that URL. And if you save it, let's reload the page here. We're gonna have this click me here that goes to collections. So if I come here and I click, we're gonna go to the collection page. Okay, and I can even add some Google link here directly if I want to. So we can say google.com and select it and save it. And if I come back here and I reload the page, click on click me, and I'm gonna go to google.com.